Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, this person here, Heike S., I don't know how to say the name, I think she's from Germany because she said hello from Germany. So, her name's a little tricky. It's not so easy to read people's names that are from foreign countries all the time and stuff. But she sent me a comment and told me to go watch the video of Michael Jackson being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by NSYNC. And when she said that at first, because it was like, wait, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I'm super familiar with the Jackson 5 being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, that, and it's Diana Ross that's giving them so I'm super familiar with that. So when she said that, I didn't understand what it was, right? So I went ahead and punched it in. And so what it is it's one of these things because Michael Jackson there's so much history when you're studying his history and stuff. There's just so much stuff there. And this one, I must have just missed it and stuff because I didn't understand that, oh, this is Michael being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall. This is not the Jackson 5. This is just Michael Jackson being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so it's one of those things that I just didn't know, I wasn't aware of it, you know. Some of these things I missed. I hadn't seen this. So it's one of those things too, if I had seen this video, it probably would not have stood out to me that, oh, this is Michael being inducted. This is not the Jackson 5. This is just Michael Jackson, right? So that's what this was. That's why I kind of missed it and stuff, right? And so let's go ahead. But before I show you this stuff, and I just want to kind of mention is like with my videos and stuff, it's like I'm really at a point where it's so difficult for me to find any time to do this, and then the effort I have to put forth. And so now I'm going to show you a couple little things from this video, but once I show you the little thing in the video, I have to figure out in my head, okay, well, how do I have this conversation? Like, what are the points I should make out of here? Do I need to bring in evidence and show all this stuff? And it's tricky. So, because what happens is it's like the public, okay, when you see like a documentary on television, okay, they show you a documentary and they do it in the way of which they do it, right? And then you as a fan, you watch that documentary and you think that you've got all this good knowledge and stuff, but in reality, you're watching an hour video that's supposed to be able to relate and encompass like Michael Jackson died at 50, right? So you're going to tell me that you can watch an hour video, and in that hour video, they're going to be able to explain Michael Jackson's 50 years of life? But the people, when you watch those videos, you think that they do that. It's like you watch, and then so these people expect me to put together, and now those documentaries, there's like 100 people. It took 100 people to put that documentary together, okay? This is just me. And it's not only just me, I full-time take care of my dad who's got Alzheimer's, and it's bad. It's progressing to where it's freaking difficult, right? Like I wake up before my dad, so I have to take care of my little business. I got 30 minutes, I wake up, take care of business and shit a little bit. And so basically, like at 6 a.m. in the morning, I get my dad up, so instantly, boom, I'm dealing, and it's like, I don't know what I'm going to be dealing with. I don't know what Moody's, I don't know how his head's going to be reacting. It's just difficult. Okay, so from 6 in the morning, I get up and I'm taking care of my dad until like a minimum of 8 o'clock at night. So every single fucking day, so I have to cook every fucking meal. I have to clean everything. I have to do all of the fucking grocery shopping. I have to go pay all the fucking bills. I have to take care of my dad completely. Like, I literally have to feed him every bite, one bite at a time. Like, and you know how fucking difficult it is? And the effort of what it takes to feed somebody one bite, it's fucking hard. You know, he gets 3 meals a day and shit, right? So, I have to feed every fucking bite. So, like, my days are fucking hard. It's hard, and I'm stressed out and just pushed to the fucking limits of what I'm able to deal with and stuff, and it's just hard and shit, right? And so, it's like, the people of how society and stuff, one of my things about, it's like, I'm aware now that it's like I might die before my story gets exposed. So the only evidence of me and what I'm doing that's gonna be left behind is the stuff I leave in these videos. So I want to make it super, super clear that my encounters with the Michael Jackson community and all the communities, all the people, but specifically because I'm in the Michael Jackson, they have the most to put the blame on them, because there's no reason for them to have treated me the way they have and shun my story the way they have. So I just want to make it clear, like people that like Michael Trapson, okay, like MJ Fangirl, you know, River Gibbs, Matt's FTR. I could go on and on, but let's just say like those four names. I just want to make it clear that these are the most evil, pathetic, disgusting human beings that I could have ever imagined that I would encounter in the world. These people are soulless, brain dead, total fucking evil, demonic, fake Michael Jackson fans, like as bad as you could possibly be. That's what, and I could go on and on and on, but that's what I've encountered, and I want to make it clear because I don't ever want to allow those people to think that they're going to be able to speak for me, like after I'm dead, and then they're going to be coming out and they're going to be saying, yeah, I had conversations with them, or yeah, I had encounters with them, and that thinks that they could justify them and being able to tell my story. They're not qualified. They're not real Michael Jackson fans. They were brain dead human beings, and they're soulless human beings. All of them. Every single one of these YouTuber Michael Jackson people that I've encountered, all of them. So I want to make it clear that none of those people are ever allowed or qualified to speak for me. Right? They don't care about any of this stuff. They don't care about Michael Jackson. They don't care about the reality of my own fucking personal issues. And I come out just simply saying, I need help. I can't do this. There's no possible way, and now I'm so damaged with society that I just am like, I don't want a part of society. It's like, these people, they all think that I'm going to get famous, and I'm going to go on all the shows, and I'm going to be buddies with all the stars, and all. It's like, dude, fuck all them. I will never fucking do that. Fuck them. Fuck all of them. Fuck all of you. Fuck everybody. Fuck all you stupid motherfuckers. That's why when people come to me and they say, I just want to be a YouTuber. How the fuck am I out here trying to be a YouTuber when I'm saying, fuck you, fuck all you, fuck all you? How the fuck would that gain me in the good graces of the fucking people and shit? How the fuck would that be? You think I'm so stupid that I don't understand by yelling at these people and insulting them that I'm not being friends with them, that they're not going to embrace me? I tried to be friends with these fuckers. They're losers, disgusting human beings, so now I just fuck you. I don't want to deal with none of you stupid fucking losers. I give you a fucking chance to fucking be human beings and be Michael Jackson fans, and they fail, and they fucking are disgusting. How many times I gotta say, fuck all you stupid motherfuckers. Fuck all the celebrities. Fuck all the media. Fuck all you Christians. I hate Jesus. Fucking, he's Satan. You people don't know anything about God. I'm fucking worried about my fucking relationship with God. That's it. My personal relationship with God, which I was fooled like all you other stupid slaves to thinking that I had to have a relationship with Jesus in order to have a fucking relationship with God. What I learned is that Jesus is a plant. He's a fucking shield of Satan. Jesus is not the right way. Jesus is Satan worship. If you follow fucking Jesus, you're a Satan worshiper. That means you're not fucking following God. You're following Satan. Do you think I would come out here and try and be friends with people saying, fuck Jesus, fuck the media, fuck Hollywood, you're all a bunch of fucking slaves? It sure doesn't seem like a good plan for somebody to try and be a fucking YouTuber trying to gain fame in here. That don't seem like a good plan to me. You know, one of the things I have to make myself laugh because I'm just so disgusted with stuff, and one of the only ways I'm able to cope with things is I entertain myself, right? It's fucked up. So like I was saying, I'm stressed out. I'm barely being able to do this fucking shit anymore. To the point of where it's just like every day I have to worry. It's like, is this day am I dying today and shit? Is this it? It's gonna be all over, and all I'm gonna have behind is what I left behind. Is because actually on the bigger scale, the reality of the thing is like I'm more in touch with the mind of God and the reality of the world that we live in, and my presence in this fucking world of right now in this time, and I've been able to understand. It's like, and this is stuff that's like hard for me. I can't relate it to you people. You people are dumb. You don't know shit. But the reality is like, dude, the reality that I have seen this truth about Michael Jackson, and that this is here ready to be exposed to the world, and the world is rejecting it and not able to deal with it. I can clearly see that we're in the end times. We're something really fucking bad is coming, and it's going to be horrible. And God, because God works in mysterious ways, God would not send a Jesus, but God works in other mysterious ways, and God is definitely God's hands at work that is allowing the discovery of Michael Jackson's real parents. Because, and what I stress to the people is that why it's Michael Jackson. It's because everybody on the planet, this is one of the most famous people on the planet, Michael Jackson. And if you asked everybody on the planet, who are Michael Jackson's parents? Everybody would say, oh, Joseph and Catherine. He's a Jackson, right? It's a fundamental truth that people have believed and accepted that as a truth for a long period of times. Michael died, everybody's believed that, right? So in order to shock the system of the society of all the cultures on humanity on the earth, what you need is you need a story like this. You need all of them to be able to see that they all saw this truth. The media all told it the same way. Everybody had the same experience of what they thought was true in the world, and how did their thoughts get formed in their head, which allowed them to believe these things, right? And so this story, the Michael Jackson story, this is a reality check to people. It's like, look at, this is going to give you a chance. This is your tool to fight against Satan. And the way to fight against Satan is you've got to be able to deal with reality. You need to understand what truth is and understand how to actually ask questions, and how do you let yourself believe things that are not really believable. Why do you believe these things? It's because they tell you things certain ways and you just take it for granted. So like all of that stuff. So it's like me on the bigger picture, and it's like, well, we're in a bad time right now. And it's like, okay, so now I'm carrying this burden that I'm like, damn, it looks like the world's about to go through a major slaughter of humanity, like just like it was going to be wiped out really bad. And it looks to me, it's like, okay, well, God has given you, because God gives us tools to deal with things. And it's like, it's this Michael Jackson story. To me, it looks like this is the story. This is the thing that God gave to all of humanity, right? And it's like, I mean, I have to deal with this, like, well, this is coming from me. It's not me, but it's like, but I'm doing it. So like, so I have to carry that burden, like, well, what the fuck? How did I get into this spot? What the fuck is going on? This is weird shit. So to have to carry this burden of what I'm doing right now, like I said, I'm dealing with fucking mass stress levels and shit, and it's like, I totally am like, I could die any day. I'm not taking nothing for granted. I know what I'm dealing with, and I don't know if I'm going to see the next steps of what's going to happen. And that's why I want to make it clear in my videos of how these people that they're not qualified to speak for me, and I will damn sure want to make sure that they're never allowed to speak for Michael Jackson ever again. They're not qualified. None of them. None of the people in the Michael Jackson community is ever allowed to speak for Michael Jackson ever again. That's one of the main things about what I'm trying to do here, is make sure that they're not qualified. I don't ever want to see those people speaking, trying to tell Michael Jackson's story or trying to relate to the people who I was in this place and stuff. They're not qualified. You got to be dealing with understanding of fucking God's mind. That's the only people. If you're no Christians ever qualified. Nobody that claims any religion on this planet. If you claim to be a part of any religion on this planet, you are not qualified to speak for me. You're not qualified to speak for God. You're not qualified to speak for Michael Jackson. I'm trying to make that as obvious and as clear as can be. But I'm saying, these videos, when I put them together, like I said, these people put together these really nice shows, these documentaries in 1 hour, and the people think, oh, well, that's how you do it. And it's like, dude, there's no possible way I could show you the truth. I can't show you even nothing. I can't even get close to showing you the evidence and all of the stuff to get you to understand the stuff for what I know. In an hour, it's impossible. There's way too much. Way too fucking much, right? So it's like, I'll just have to go with these pieces and shit, right? So here, I'm going to start here and just show you a couple little pieces about what he says here, and I'm going to try and explain it to you and shit, right? Here we go.
Thank you. The glamorous and talented and beautiful Diana Ross, who is my second mother, I thank you.
Who is my second... Now, I played this out of order, actually, because I was going to play this one after. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not in a studio. Now, I just played that wrong. Should have I had stopped it And then so corrected it. So that's what I'm saying. When I do this, it's a one-shot thing. I don't have a script that I'm reading off of. I've got a million things going on in my brain, and I'm just free-flowing it out as best as I can be. And that's the way I like to do things, because it's real. It's just I'm trying to show that I make mistakes and that my words don't come out right because I'm not reading off of a script. I'm trying to give you the sense of this is reality. Like if you were having a conversation with somebody, this is how it takes place, and you need to be able to, in your own mind, you got to sit back and be able to understand. Even when I make a mistake, you need to be able to understand, oh, I understood what you were trying to say. And, even though you made that mistake, yeah, I know what you were trying to say. And that's, so all this stuff. So this was the thing the person pointed out to me, said, go look at the end of that, because Michael calls Diana Ross his second mother and stuff, right? So, but let's, see, because I got the windows open up here, so it's, this one. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start from here. Let's go start to here in the beginning. This is where I was. See, I messed up. I was going to play that. I meant to play this first, and then I was going to show you the part where he calls Diana Ross his second mother. So here, let me play this part here.
I'm honored to be inducted twice in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a great blessing. For me, the gift of music has been a blessing from God. Okay, so when understanding what Michael Jackson is saying, now he's speaking in a code. He can't tell you the real truth, but he doesn't want to lie to you. So he speaks in with a split tongue, and it's like double talk, where it's like he's telling you a form of the truth, but he's also saying other things that are layered within that the wording of what he's saying. It's hard to understand what he's saying. You gotta understand, first of all, do you respect Michael Jackson and understand that this guy was really fucking smart? This is not just somebody who got lucky and can sing his dance. As he got older, he studied. This is a guy who hung around very intellectual people. They would have intellectual conversations. This guy spent time thinking and trying to understand the mind of God, trying to understand his reason for being here on this planet, trying to figure out what is he supposed to do. This is a guy who dealt with all of those things, right? So he's got a bigger understanding. So the simplest things to understand here is that, first of all, he can't tell you that he's not a Jackson. He can't explain that story. He can't tell you, because that ruins the whole Jackson thing and everything about what he's saying. So first of all, what he says here is that he gets his talent, his real thing, from God. Let me go back and play it here. Let's hear exactly the word he says there. Honored to be inducted twice in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a great blessing. For me, the gift of music has been a blessing from God. Okay, the gift of music has been a blessing from God. So what he's telling you is that the real gift that he has, the gift that he has as the artist, as the ability to sing and dance, what he has to be the artist, because he draws, he's an artist, he writes songs, he's a real artist, right? That's a gift from God, okay? That's a gift from God. So what he's telling you is it's it's hard, because now a gift from God, so then you talk about the parents. It's the parents thing, but there's a bigger picture to it, because he really gets his talents from his real parents, Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. That's the God's gift thing. But now he's going to show you that there's the gift that the Jacksons gave him, right? So he's going to acknowledge them. From the time I was a child. So I, first of all, would like to thank my parents who bequeathed me that gift. Okay, so when he said bequeath, okay, I've heard that word, but I didn't know exactly, bequeath. So I went to look it up. So I had to look it up to see the definition. So the definition here, it says, to give or leave by will, used especially of personal property. Okay? And then the next one says to hand down. To hand down. So what he's doing is he's telling you that the Jacksons, see, this is what I'm saying, it's so hard to actually explain this stuff about what he's actually saying. So he's telling you that his real gift comes from God, but the Jacksons bequeathed their love for music and handed it down to Michael, which then allowed him to flourish, allowed his talent to flourish and to develop the way it was. Because Michael, at this point in his life, he understood, he understands his reality is he was being abandoned. He was being given away as a child. It just so happened that he ended up in the Jacksons' house, and that in that household, those people had an interest in music. There was an interest of music in that house, which Joe Jackson then bequeathed it. They handed down their love for music, but not the inner thing that he got from God. The thing he got from God, that's not what he got from the Jacksons. What he got from the Jacksons is their love of music and their desire to go and be rich and famous and stuff. That's what they bequeathed to him. That's what they handed down to him. So it's like, this is what I'm saying. His wording and what he's actually saying, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult for me to even try to explain it. I understand. When I hear it, I can understand. But now for me to try to explain it to people, it's very difficult. And what happens is most of the people that I deal with, their brains don't actually work, so it hurts their brains to hear me talking, right? And hear me explaining things. It brings them pain. And they don't like to feel stupid, right? Because they would rather be stupid and not know it than to be stupid and have to actually deal with the reality of, how do I stop being stupid? I have to actually change myself. I have to get smart. How do I do that? You know, that's hard. They can't get smart. They don't understand how to get smart. They don't understand. And the world's made it so easy for you. Oh, you want to go to heaven? All you've got to do is say, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and I'm a sinner. That's what they've told you. All you got to do is say that, and you're going to go to heaven. It's like, do you really think God would make it so easy to get back to heaven and to be a God in God's presence? You think God would make it that easy? Hell no. That's obviously a trick of Satan. Oh, it's so easy. All you've got to do is admit that you're a sinner and that you're a total loser. And all you got to do is worship me. That's Satan. That's Satan. Oh my God, right? So Michael Jackson, what he's actually saying here, and he is saying it, but for the people to hear the truth of what he's saying, you never could understand the truth, because the first of all most important thing is that you think he's a Jackson. And right here he's calling his mother and then his father, and he talks about his brothers and sisters, and he's talking about this gift of God, and then he says, and then my parents, Joseph, they bequeathed it down to me. That he used that word. And so it's like that they handed it down. They didn't give it to him through the gift of God, didn't come from the Jacksons. It's a way he's separating it, but it's very difficult to hear the truth of the words he's speaking, especially if you don't know the truth that he's not a Jackson. How could you ever have understood what he was actually saying? But now, that's what I'm saying, that there's a weird thing that's going on, because here I am, and I understand. I understand what he's talking about. And I'm trying to expose it to the world, which means we must be in a really weird time and place and moment in human history for this to be occurring right now the way it is. And I can see the way society is and how they're all misled and fooled by Satan. They're all under Satan's spell. And I can understand that this is a truth that's got power. This has got immense power, and it can break down. It can break down the barriers, and this will have the power to fight against Satan. So that's one of those things like me. It's like, okay, so as soon as this comes out, I know Satan's going to come get me. They're going to either kill me or put me in jail or do something. Satan does not allow people like me to run around on this planet and free the people's minds. That doesn't work like that. What usually happens is I get killed. The people like me that are like me, Satan comes and kills me or puts me in jail, does something. They're going to fucking get rid of me, because they're not going to allow me to come out here and actually be the person I am, that once this is going and people are listening to me, that I could actually have the ability to free these people's minds and free their spirits from their control of their master Satan here on earth, you know? Satan doesn't allow that to happen, so I'm in big trouble. But it's not stopping me. I'm not saying I try my best. I still come out here and I try my fucking best, do my best, under full well understanding that this is most likely going to get me fucking murdered and shit. But here I am, fucking, it's ridiculous shit, right? So So this is what when he's talking about when he says the bequeath thing. That's what he's actually saying is, okay, now so here's the other big part is that Michael Jackson could never just tell you like the truth, but he does it in different ways. Like he says that thing when he talks about God, and then he talks about his parents, right? But then when he does the thing here with the Diana Ross, but he always brings up like this other thing.
He is the man. The glamorous, no, thank you. The glamorous and talented and beautiful Diana Ross, who is my second mother. I thank you.
My second mother. See, and it's weird because it's like, it's tricky to understand that the people, so first of all, the first thing you got to understand that when he's calling Diana Ross my second mother, that instantly invalidates any kind of sexual relationship that ever could happen with Michael. So the people that, because Michael said the thing, he said, yeah, he said, I understand that there's a point where he's being pressured by a media person, and a person is like saying, well, what about Diana Ross? So he's talking about marriages, and maybe Michael would bring up, oh, well, yeah, I have a girlfriend, maybe I hang out with like Diana Ross, but he's not saying like I'm banging Diana Ross. It's not really what's going on. He's like doing this weird double talk, and like I said, he's trying to answer the question, but he has to cover up the lie, and he doesn't like to lie, and that's what you get with Michael. So it's incredibly difficult to understand what he's talking about, and there's all these things that have occurred. But when you get the simple like this, okay, he's not being pressured by the media, right? This is something that he probably has written down there, or at least he's planned it in his head, like, what am I going to say, right? And when he brings up Diana Ross, my second mother, it's like, okay, well, he definitely would not be calling Diana Ross his second mother if he was fucking Diana Ross. I mean, it's just like, that can't be possible. So it instantly invalidates Michael Jackson having any form of a sexual relationship with Diana Ross. It's just not there. It ain't there. It's not in Michael. When you show the real evidence and the fact it's not there. The people that believe that, you've been misled. You've been fooled. You've been listening to the wrong people. And because you want to think now that you've got a piece of knowledge which makes you superior and you know more than other people, because that's the way you people are. You want to take a piece of information and think it validates you as some kind of special person. You've got this, you know more. That's the way, because you guys are all selfish. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic and shit, right? So Michael constantly referring, and he says, Diana Ross, my second mother. And so it's like, okay, well, a mother is the one who raises you. Okay, the person who gives birth to you, it's like, okay, that's the one who created you, but your mother is like, Michael Jackson was raised in the Jackson household. It's Diana Ross gave birth to Michael and gave them to the Jacksons. So like, that's the other thing I was saying is like, Michael understands now, looking at the bigger picture, he's like, I was given away as a kid. I could have ended up anywhere. So when he shows the respect for the Jacksons and appreciates them for giving him also they bequeath their love of the music down to him. They did do that, right? The Jacksons did have a love of music in that household, of which they turned their love of music and handed that down to Michael, which leads Michael to becoming the star, and they did that. And so Michael gives them credit for that, because Michael understood he could have just ended up in any household. If he had ended up in any household, yeah, he would have had the gift in him, but would it ever have flourished into being? No. If it was different, it would be different. So that's what you're getting in the context with all this conversation. And him calling Diana Ross his second mother, and then Michael puts in his will, he gives everything to his children with guardianship to Catherine, and if Catherine was unable to fulfill that, he gave guardianship to Diana Ross, his second mother. Not just a friend, not just a good friend, this is a mother. She's in a mother position, and and like in the bequeath thing, it says like you bequeath it in your will, right? So who did Michael Jackson bequeath his children and his finances to in his will? Gave everything to his children with guardianship to Catherine, his first real mother that he knows, his only real mother. But then there's a second mother, Diana Ross, and she ends up in the will, which like validates like what he's actually talking about, that there's much more understanding of what he's actually saying. So Catherine Jackson's Michael Jackson's real mother. He was raised in that house. Diana Ross gives birth to him and instantly abandons him to the Jackson family, right? So Michael is raised with Catherine as his mother. Catherine's the one who was wiping his butt when he was a baby. Catherine was the one feeding him. Catherine was the one doing everything. That was his real mother. That was his family. And then as soon as he started becoming of age, it's not like they're telling him, you're not my kid, which Joe secretly was doing the thing in code too, where Joe's telling him, that's not my nose. He was telling Michael, you're dark, or you said, look at your nose, that's not my nose. So secretly he was telling him stuff, but he wasn't telling him and shit. What he was really telling him is, you're a Jackson. Every time you hear Joe Jackson acknowledge Michael, he always says, well, he's a Jackson, he's a Jackson, he's a Jackson, because he's got to cover up for the fact that Michael's actual talent does not come from the Jacksons. But he was raised as a Jackson. It's a confusing story, right? Hard for me to explain it. So now Michael clearly was doing this stuff. Like, most of you people have seen some of my videos. You see that Diana Ross was doing it too, calling Michael her son, saying Michael could be part of her family. They got the same bone structure, like real shit. I actually have all the evidence. Like, obviously, I can't put it together in one freaking video and shit, right? But so all of the stuff of what they did, it was all breadcrumbs and stuff, right? And Michael never directly couldn't actually tell you the truth, but there is one thing where he did tell you the truth. There is one thing, and because I'm so good on the story, I'm so far advanced that I have seen it and I can explain it to you. That there was one actual thing where Michael told you the actual truth of the whole thing. He put it in one song. And it's like, you people that know me, you should know what song I'm about to say. It's Billie Jean. Billie Jean is about Diana Ross informing Michael Jackson that she was his real mother when Michael was 10 years old, and the Jacksons were living in Diana Ross's house after they had moved to LA, after they had signed with Motown. That's what the song Billie Jean is actually about. Michael did tell us in one song, he actually told us the truth. He told the truth. But the truth and the understanding, to understand that song, you had to understand that Michael wasn't a Jackson. And that's the most single thing that most people think they understand about Michael, is that he is a Jackson. So that's why he was able to do it. Nobody ever understood it. Nobody. Because in order for you to actually understand what the song Billie Jean is, and to understand that Diana Ross is Billie Jean, you would have to have an understanding that Michael's not a Jackson. Okay? So that wasn't going to happen. It did not ever happen. Michael died. It didn't happen. The same thing of what has happened is, like, I don't know if I'm going to die. I don't know if I'm going to see this story break to the world, right? When it breaks to the world, is that when Satan comes and gets me? Or does all this stress building up, and that's like a way of Satan's world, is Satan kills people by creating all this stress and pressure because people that are having to deal with truths of the world and they're close to God, well, I got to carry the burden now of all of knowing this truth and seeing how the world really is and stuff, right? So Satan kills me like through that, by keeping me down, because Satan controls the world, and he knows that my lies and my truth cannot penetrate his lies. I can't stop his lies because his lies control everything, right? So then I have to sit here knowing the truth and knowing that I can't penetrate through Satan's barrier of lies. And then what happens, that stuff causes stress, a lot of people end up dead and shit, right? What's happened to Michael. That's how he ends up dead. He was carrying that burden, turned into drugs to stop all, because you hear the voices in your head. Like, that's the shit. There's too much shit going on in my head. It's hard. It causes stress. But not only does it cause stress, I'm freaking taking care of my dad who's got Alzheimer's. Like I said, that's a minimum of 14 hours a day. I'm taking care of him. And he constantly is like, no, he fights everything I do. I'm trying to help him, and he's constantly, no, get away, fight me off and shit, right? And it's the same way, exact same experience of what I'm dealing with dealing with my dad is the exact same experience of what I'm dealing in the Michael Jackson community. They're like, no, get away from me. I don't want your help. I don't want to hear that. Get away. What are you doing? It's the exact same weird fucking thing. And it's like causing a lot of fucking stress on me. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this shit, right? So it's like, that's part of why I'm documenting things. It's like, because the only thing I can leave behind is going to be some of these videos and stuff, and trying to express myself the best I can, trying to hope that I can get people to fucking understand. And it's like, don't think you know what the fuck's going on, because you don't. And like, I constantly always was like, I would think I knew something, but with the understanding that I didn't completely know everything, and that the story is constantly evolving, and the better information you get, the more evolved you get, the better understanding you're going to have, the better capabilities you're going to have of expressing these viewpoints and stuff to the world, right? So it's like, yeah, at times I believed in Jesus. I fully believed in Jesus, but I never could have got to the point to understand that Jesus was fake if I didn't fully believe in it. I wouldn't know what that experience was like, but I did know what it was like. I went through and stuff, and now I can tell you, because I'm on the other side, now I can tell you, oh, I was making mistakes back there. When I thought I knew, no, I was wrong. But I was always strong enough in myself to understand that I don't know everything. And even with what I know at this point, there's always more to learn, and that's how I kept evolving and stuff. You keep evolving, keep questioning yourself and shit. That's what you got to keep doing. So, okay, that's enough for now. And it's like, there's always more I want to show you. There's always more I want to talk about, but it just takes time and shit, you know? And I try and do my best. But it's like, the other thing is I've just got so much. I have so much evidence, and I can't get the people to deal with that. And so it's like, what I try, and it's like, one thing, it's like, the one thing, the most important everything of all is like, listen to my explanation of the song Billie Jean. That's the song. That's the one that Michael actually told the truth. It's like the realest truth of anything, of what Michael Jackson did. From my understanding and seeing everything, there was only one, like right here, he went up on stage and just told you Diana Ross is my second mother, but what does that actually mean? It's not, it's like encoded and all this stuff like that, right? I can't use that as one single piece of information to prove my whole story. So that's what I'm saying, is I've got tons of stuff like this, right? Which totally shows you, it's like, this stuff, it's like with me, all I ever ask people to believe with me is just one thing. Is just that the way that I made the discovery of how I started my whole investigation. It was about 6 months after Michael Jackson had died. So when he died, I got two pieces of information that Diana Ross was in Michael Jackson's will. Okay, I could have never have gotten that piece of information if Michael didn't die. I would have never had that information. So that was and then that Diana Ross did not show up to the memorial, and she had read that letter that was read by Smokey Robinson, right? So that was in my head, right? And then about 6 months after Michael had passed away, I was watching movies on the TCM, the Turner Classic Movie Channel, specifically because they were older movies, and there was a thing that I started watching the older movies, and there was a thing that was very interesting because I knew that Michael had a love of movies and classic cinema and stuff like that, right? So then I started watching the movies, and I started seeing these famous old stars, and there was a weird connection to and that's exactly why I started watching. That's what it was. And that's what I'm saying, is like, this is how it happened. And it's the only thing I would ask for people to believe of. The one thing is just how the discovery was made. So then I'm watching the movie Lady Sings the Blues, starring Diana Ross, her first movie where she plays the character Billie Holiday, which of the song Billie Jean, the first line in the song Billie Jean is, she was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. Okay, because when Michael Jackson's living in her house, she's filming the movie Lady Sings the Blues, where she's playing Billie Holiday. Michael Jackson knew who Diana Ross was. She was a singing star. But when he meets her, at the point of what I'm saying, when she tells him that she's his mom when he's living in her house, she was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. That's what the song is about. It's about that moment in time when Michael was living in her house. Diana Ross is filming the movie Lady Sings the Blues. That's what I'm saying. It's really weird now that I have this bigger context of how everything happened. So I was watching Lady Sings the Blues. That's the movie that broke the whole thing. And so I'm watching the movie, and Diana Ross was up there singing, but I just saw Michael Jackson. I wasn't seeing Diana Ross anymore. I was seeing Michael Jackson. It looked like Michael Jackson in drag. That's the way I try to explain of what I was seeing. And I literally got up and adjusted my eyes, and it didn't go away. This was not something, it didn't go away. And that's what I'm saying. This is what it took. When it didn't go away, and I just kept staring at it, and I saw Michael Jackson. It was Michael Jackson, but it was Diana Ross in the movie. Okay, but I saw Michael Jackson. Okay, so because of those events that occurred, and like I said, because I had the information of Diana being in Michael's will, and I'm a Michael Jackson fan, so I knew all the old stuff, the stories that everybody knows. The Michael was getting surgeries to try and look like Diana Ross, like all the stuff, whatever stuff, right? So I mean, I already had all that stuff in my head, But I was never gonna say is Diana Ross's mom. It was because he died. Then she was in his will, but she didn't show up to the memorial. Then I watched that movie, and then I saw, and so I was seeing her, but I saw Michael Jackson. So that's the event, and this is the only thing of which I ask people to believe. It's like, this is the only thing that for me, when I'm saying all you got to do is trust me, is that this is how my whole thing started. It's not like I was never wanting to be famous. There's no, like, I didn't have some, like, I didn't, all this information of what I got after. When I go and show you all the, like I'm saying, like this, I didn't even know about this video. I just found about this video today. I still am constantly finding things. So people kind of think like I had all this information, these videos about like Diana calling Michael her son. Like people think I had that stuff, and then I just created a YouTube page trying to create some conspiracy. That's not what happened. I was watching the movie, I saw Michael and Diana, and I said, that's where I said, could Diana Ross possibly be Michael Jackson's mother? You know, could that be? And then I started the investigation. And from there, then I find out Diana's like 14, right, when she gives birth to Michael. So right, my very first thing I checked on is like, ooh, she's 14. That doesn't sound, that seems like a problem, right? But it turned out that was the answer for everything. The whole problem is that she was 14. And like I said, then I found her on video saying that she was sleeping in Smokey Robinson's house at that time because she's best friends with Smokey Robinson's niece, Sharon Burstyn. Okay, she's explained all this stuff. So, now, when I went to look for the reality of the truth to investigate this stuff, right, I didn't know all those things were there for me to be found. So, one of the biggest points of what I'm trying to show you is like, if my story wasn't true, that stuff would not have been there. It would not have been there in the way of what it is, like Michael right here saying Diana Ross is my second mother. The fact that Diana Ross is in Michael Jackson's will, like everything, all the stuff of what I say and what I show you, it's like that stuff would not have been there for me to find if the story wasn't true. But the story, it turned out that it was a true story. And when you go find it out, you find out that they had left breadcrumbs behind for somebody to put together because they could never really come out and expose the truth. So what they did is they left behind breadcrumbs to expose the truth. And so they knew it was documented, but they figured it was never going to come out. It was just one of those things, they had left breadcrumbs behind. That's all there is to it. So it turns out that I was able to go pick up the breadcrumbs and find my way back to the truth of the whole reality of the whole story. You know, so, and then which I say that now I have such a good understanding is that Billie Jean is Michael Jackson's actual confession. His actual confession where he actually tells you and explains the truth, but you have to understand that Diana Ross is his mother. That's what Billie Jean's actually about. The kid Michael's the kid in the song. Michael's the kid. It's not, you guys have heard it wrong, and Michael let you interpret it the wrong way because it's not his job to explain it. It was his job to create the art. It was not his job to explain it to you. That was not what he was to do. It was his job to create it. He did his job. He left behind the breadcrumbs, and now I'm the one that's followed that trail back to the reality, and I've got the truth. And I can tell you the truth of what it is. And the one song, the one best piece of evidence out there that explains everything is the song Billie Jean. It's Billie Jean. Diana Ross is Billie Jean. It's Michael actually confessed. It's that song. You just got to listen to me explaining the song. You know, I have a whole playlist called Billie Jean, American Scheme, something like that. You know, I have a playlist about all Billie Jean stuff, about all my videos related to Billie Jean. Just watch that stuff. It's the one thing, if you want to go investigate one thing, investigate Billie Jean. It's the one thing that explains everything. You know, I can only do so much and stuff, okay? So I'm going to go for now. We'll talk to you later. Bye.